Hey everyone, what's up? It is TheUnproPro here, and welcome to the tutorial. In this tutorial, we'll be learning how to make what I showed yesterday, in fact. And it's not as complicated as it might sound, even though there's a bunch of eventing here. As you can see, there's a ton of eventing. It's actually not that complicated. So then, you will have to understand conditional branches and variable control. To learn about variables, you can click the video on the screen here and whatnot. And yeah, so let's go ahead and begin. First, you want to make a conditional branch to check and see if the self switch A is off. Now we could use multiple event pages for this, but we're just going to go ahead and do it this way. So you're going to use a conditional branch and check and see if A is off. And if it is, you're going to show the picture. There's a link in the description. For some reason my right click menu is opening on my other monitor. There is a link in the description to download this picture. It's just a little bar and a little square. So then, you're going to show that. The picture ID can be whatever you want it to be. Okay, so, control variables, where we are going to set, why does it keep doing that? We're going to set variable class equal to warrior. So yeah, you are going to have to make these variables here. Class, gender, points, P, input, MHP, MMP, ATK, DDF, magic attack, magic defense, agility, and luck. So you are going to need those 12 variables. Now, as you can see here, we can't set the variable equal to any sort of a text form by this. It doesn't allow for that, just numbers. So if you do script, you can actually type in quotes warrior, and you will set that variable equal to that text, equal to that string, rather. Now we're going to set a variable called gender equal to male. This is all the defaults. This is the default stuff. And then we're going to select another variable. We're going to call it points, and it's going to be we're going to set points to 15 by default. This allows you to allocate 15 points to any stat that the player chooses. Next, we're going to set the move route for the player, and we're going to turn stepping animation on. Then we're going to turn self switch A on. Now, don't worry about the rest of this just yet. We're going to go ahead and do the map setup. As you see here, I have a sort of the black tile thing, which is located here. It's drawn a square in the bottom left corner. And then inside of that square, I have another tile. You can have any tile you want, but I chose this tile here. Now then, back to eventing. Let's see, we make a label. Labels can be made here in the first tab. And we're going to call the label start. And we're just going to show some text. If you don't understand the text thing, I will be uploading a text tutorial as well. Yeah, but that's for another time. But for now, you should have something similar to this. You don't have to worry about the /C part. The most important thing you need to worry about is right here. That right there will display the character's name. \V1 will display the first variable. \V2 will display the second variable, and so on. So in other words, we are displaying the class, gender, and the name. Press F2, you can kind of preview it here. And it shows as zeros, but that's just because by default they're supposed to be numbers. The /C and then number thing is just a color change. Now we're going to show some choices. We're going to say name, class, gender, stats, and finish. Default is choice 1, and cancel is disallow. Window position is to the left. To the left. You can have it anywhere you want, but I just chose to the left. You can also have any, for some reason, if you would want to, a cancel choice if you wanted, which could be finish if you wanted it to be. Anyway, so when you choose name, notice how we're commenting things here. This will help you find things a lot easier. If you need to edit something, like if you mess something up, comments will help you on long events. So I do recommend using them. As you can see here, it's just a standard text thing. It says name. Make it large though, so it's kind of seeable quickly. You can make a comment through here. Now then, if you have name, then you're going to input, or if you, okay, inside of the when name part, you're going to allow for a name input, which can be found, thank you, which can be found here. It's on the third tab, and on the name input processing part. And then we're going to jump to label, which can be found here. Jump to labels right underneath label, and we're going to type start, exactly like this one, case sensitive, guys. So we're gonna start back to this text and show choice area. So when you choose class, it's going to show some text. It's going to tell you what the warrior, what the classes are good for and whatnot. And you're going to have a list of your classes. In this case, I chose warrior, mage, and archer. Now, when warrior, we're going to set the variable class equal to warrior. Then we're going to have a conditional branch. This is very important. If you're using VX Ace, it would look different. and I'm sorry, but I really don't want to try and find the variations between VX Ace, VX and XP, and all that. I think VX and VX Ace are the same though. But anyways, I really don't want to go searching for the alternative method. But it's not that hard to find. If you're using a different RPG Maker, what you can do is go into the script editor and hold Control and press F on something like Game System, the script area for there, and then you can kind of search for variables or something like that, and you can kind of understand how they work there. But we're gonna do a conditional branch. We're gonna do a 4th tab. We're gonna do script, and you have to type it exactly like this, case sensitive. I'm gonna zoom it in on the screen so you can see it. If I really recommend watching this part in full screen. That way you can see every detail you can possibly see, just in case you think something might be the bracket, whereas it's a parenthesis or something like that. So just to make sure you get everything exactly right. So we're gonna set value 2, or we're gonna check and see if the gender is a male, basically. And if it is, oh yeah, do make sure to check the else branch as well. And if it is a male, then you're gonna change the actor's graphic to this. So you're gonna change Harold's graphic to this. And if it's female, underneath the else area, you're gonna do the female warrior type. And then we're gonna change the class to hero and uncheck save level, because unless of course if you have a customizer that's already in game and you just kind of want to change your character a bit, then you would click on save level for the class change. And then the same thing we do with this, the same thing we did with the warrior, we're just going to do with mage. You would set the class to mage, and then you would check and see if it's male, just like we did before. And if so, then you're gonna do the male graphic for the mage, and if else, you're gonna do the female graphic for the mage. And then you're gonna change the class again. Same thing with the archer. Exact same setup here. And yeah, and then we're going at the end of it. After all the conditional branches and after all the whens, you're going to select jump to label start. So we're going to start back from the beginning again. Okay, when you choose gender, you show choices male and female. When male, you change the gender to male here with the control variables, and then we're going to check and see we're going to check the classes, because we're going to be changing the character's graphic based on what class he already is. So you're going to check and see if the class is warrior, in this case the first variable in our case. You're going to check if it's warrior, and if so, then it's going to change him to there. And then you're going to do a check if mage, and if so, you're going to change the mage graphic. And then yeah, and do the exact same setup for the female as well, if you choose female. You're going to check and see if that character has that class, and if so, change the graphic accordingly, like so. And of course, at the end, when cancel, you don't technically have to have anything here. If you have a cancel method, as long as it's at the end, you're just going to jump to label start again. This is the interesting part, the very, very large part. Okay, you're going to, obviously the comment stat thing. So we're going to make a label called stats underneath the comment. The placement here is pretty much important. So we're going to set a bunch of variables equal to game data and the player stats here. Except for p input. We're going to set p input equal to 0. So we're going to set all the other variables that we've seen, MHP, all these stats equal to the character's stat accordingly. Now we're going to show some text. This gets a little advanced, so to save everyone some grief, I'm going to have this in the description. That way it saves everyone a bunch of confusion and trouble. This text code here will be in the description below. Basically what it does is, it does this right here. It shows all the stats of the characters, and it shows how much points you have remaining. Underneath that, we're going to show some show choices events, which I'm also going to have in the description below. As you can see here, what this does is it changes the size, changes the color, and then displays the variable equal to that perimeter. Right next to it shows it in the choice area, basically. And in the more, okay, so let's go on here. Comment HP. It says, how many points will you use? Make sure the text is underneath the comment. That's very important. Otherwise, when you input the number, it's going to remove the text first. So then we're going to input some numbers with a limit of 3. We're going to select the variable as p input. Sounds funny. So then we're going to say if p input is greater than points, if it's greater than the amount of points that you have, then you're going to set it equal to the amount of points you have. That way you can't basically apply more points than you have. And then we're going to control variables. We're going to, for the HP and MP, we're going to multiply p input by 10. so that every 1 point is actually 10 HP or MP. So it's going to ask you increase HP by the variable 4, which is P input points. And when yes and no, now we're going to divide by 10 P input. This is kind of important because we don't want to subtract 10. Let's say you do use 1 point. If you don't do this, you'll be subtracting 10 points, for example. So we're going to divide by however much we multiplied. If you want to make a different number where 1 point is 50 HP, just make sure you divide by the equal amount that you multiplied here. After that, we're going to subtract the points and then remultiply it. This is important because you want to increase the stat accordingly to that. Though I do see another method, actually, that you can probably use, but that's... yeah, I was tired. I worked really hard on this. I don't feel like correcting it now. Some of you are screaming at me for not noticing it, probably. Unless I'm losing my gourd. Alright, so then, when no, jump to label stats, and jump to label stats as well. When MP, you're going to do the exact same thing, except you're just going to increase the variable MP. Now, the only thing that gets different from here, when you choose attack, for example, is we're not multiplying or dividing. We're just showing the text, input, and if it's greater than, and then it says increase attack by this much, show choices yes or no, and if yes, then you subtract the points by the input that the character had, and then you increase by the input. That's it. And then the same thing goes for all the other stats. Now, in the more part, when you select more, we're just going to kind of copy the text event that I had up there, which I did not copy properly, but you should. I forgot to update this part before the tutorial, but that's fine. It's basically the exact same text that's in the description that shows all the stats. And then you show choices, these remaining ones here, and then you have a back choice. And then, pretty much the exact same setup from before. You just check and see if it's greater than, and if it is, yeah, just exactly like we did with the attack. Agility, and luck. Alright, there we go then. So, at the end of it, you want to jump to the label stats. At the end of that, you want to jump to the label stats. And when you cancel, just jump to the label start. Or don't have anything for cancel. And then at the end of all that, jump to label start. And then when you finish, you can have your own little script that kind of teleports you to another map if you wanted to. Just do remember to erase the picture. Remember, when you're using erase picture, to give it the exact same ID that you gave your picture. I'm adding this part in because I forgot to do it during the tutorial, and I apologize for that. But I also have a separate parallel process event here as well, which basically you wait for 20 frames, and then you wait for 100 frames in the set move route for the player, turn left, wait 120 frames, turn up, wait 120 frames, turn right, wait 120 frames, and turn down. It's very important to have the wait for 20 frames at the very top as well, and subtract 20 from your first wait, because otherwise the text events will not work. You have to have a small wait, otherwise it won't work properly. And that's it. That's all there is to this tutorial. And I thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all later. Peace out.